Right, here we go. So another video, and probably the most important one so far. Before we get into it, I just want to say thanks again to everyone who's been supporting this channel. We're 4 days into it. This is our 4th day. We've already cleared 1,000 minutes view time on YouTube. This is awesome. Let's keep this going, and 2K21 is going to be epic. This video is the most important video because it's going to highlight all the mistakes that players made last year, and unless you've really thought about this game, you're going to have made at least some of these mistakes. But we've got a fresh game, a new year, better version of us. Let's make sure we don't make those mistakes again. I'm going to run you through 10, no particular order. Let's get into it. All right, first up, this is a big one. Mindset is everything in this game. I don't think people give it the credit it deserves as an approach to this game and how important your mindset is, but a common mistake in a sentence: don't think that you're elite. There is very few players in this game that are actually elite. They play in the 250k tournaments, they play in, high-level pro-am tournaments. If you're not one of those people, you're not elite. What that means is you're going to lose a lot of games this year. Now, I've spoken about the concept of 12-0 and all of these things, but if you win 90% of your games, you're still going to lose 1 out of 10. Elite is a very select few people. There's not many people, not many of us, that will fall into it. If you're good, you probably sit somewhere between top, somewhere between 10 to 40%, somewhere in that range. You're going to lose games. So starting off, set realistic expectations for the year so you don't spend the whole year frustrated. If you think you're incredible and you're going to win every single game, this game will be really unenjoyable. I've never logged into a game saying I'm guaranteed to win it. It literally doesn't bother me if I lose it. Occasionally I'll get annoyed because the game is broken, and you will lose a few games because of the game itself and the fact that it is a bit broken, but that doesn't define you as a player. Losing a game, losing 2, 3, 4% of your games because of the game doesn't mean you lost the other 96% because the other player wasn't better than you. They were better than you. That's fine, that's okay. We're going to get better. When you think like this, it's not only frustrating and makes the game less enjoyable, but it stops you learning. If you think you're elite, why would you get any better? So my strategy this year, I was new to the game. I had 0 expectations of myself. I wanted to build a really good team. That was really my only objective for this game. I never ever thought I would go 12-0 this year, but because I didn't think I would go 12-0, I learned how to do it and I did it. Ironically, in 2K21, I have the same strategy. I want to build a really good team at the end of the year. I want to do it without spending money. But I really don't think I'm going to go 12-0 next year because of this league system. I don't think I can get to League 1 and then compete. But I said the same thing this year and I was wrong. So figure out what your objectives are, figure out what you want to get out of the game, and you'll just enjoy the game a lot more next year. Right, next up, we have don't change your squad too much. This is a mistake the majority of MyTeam players make. A card is as good as you are with that card. And if you've used it for a week and then used another card for a week and then used another card for a week, you're never really going to get to know the cards that you're using, and you're going to constantly put yourself at a disadvantage. This year I focused on every month, every sort of unlimited run, I would use the same squad and then I would change it for the next month. That's what I did. So I had a 4-week run constantly using the same cards, knowing those cards, and it did give me an edge. It was important. When a new set of packs comes out, don't scramble and go and pick one up. And if you're going to do that, there's no denying you're probably going to do that again the next week. So it's not practical. You have to know the cards. Focus on skill over cards. Having that shiny new card doesn't mean anything. So don't change your squad. Use the same players. The next one is about timing on Unlimited. I can't understate this. The timing in which you play Unlimited is crucial to your success and your enjoyment of this game. This year, I didn't touch Unlimited for the first 2 weeks of every month. Why? Because the Super Sweats are out. Everyone who wants that 12-0 reward card first is going to be playing that game. And people think that they can get around it by overall glitching and all of these things. It doesn't work, because the best players in this game, definitely YouTubers, are also overall glitching. So you're still going to run into them. They're still probably better than you. You're just making your life so much more difficult. After 2 weeks, I found it difficult not to go 12-0. It was more often that I did than I didn't. End of the month now, if you're going to run now, you'll probably have the best chance of going 12-0. Now next year, this is even more important because they've got this 6-week season system. So you're going to want to get out of League One, get into the higher leagues and higher tiers. But there's no point trying to get out of League One when every elite player in the game is trying to do it too. You're just going to make your life more difficult. Let them get out, let them get on, let them get their rewards, and then it's open for everyone. Next up, we have peak value cards. What I mean by that is buying a card when it's at its maximum value. There is never ever a reason to do this, and you have to know by now that the MT that you put into that card is going to be worthless within about 6 weeks. The reason I've got LeBron on the screen is look at the evolution of his cards and just think about how quickly the next card came out, which completely devalued the previous card. So you had the normal pink diamond LeBron. I think there was a diamond version before that. Then you had the point guard glitched LeBron. Then you had the point guard opal out of position LeBron. Then you had the LeBron prime. Then you had the LeBron GOAT card. And then you had the LeBron GOAT point guard. I mean, there's no scenario where any of those cards you should have bought at peak value. The out of position LeBron at its peak was selling for more than this card is right now. If you bought that card, you threw away a million MT. If you just waited, it wouldn't have been a problem. And you have to get your head around the meta will never change enough in that time. In the space of 4 weeks from one card coming out to the next, when it's the same card, the game's just not going to change enough. You know, I could run that out of position LeBron now, get him for, I don't know whatever he's going for now, probably 80k. The game hasn't changed enough. If your skill is still a factor. So just never ever buy a card when it's at max value. You're guaranteed to burn that MT. Now following on from, you know, buying cards for a million MT, there's something that's even worse. I think possibly is the biggest mistake you can make in this game. Locking in a premium promo set for a card. And I'm going to use one example for this because if anyone did this, I really, really feel for you. Now, endgame cards are fine. You know, I locked in for Kareem. There isn't going to be a better version of Kareem coming out. At the end of the game, it's fine. It's not an issue. But throughout the year, this is 2K's ultimate strategy to pull MT out of the game. And this example will show how little they care about doing it. The next cards with LaMelo, Edwards, etc., Wiseman, that set locked in for about 2 million MT at the time because LaMelo was about 1 million on his own. Now, to lock in, you would get Zion Williamson, who could run at point guard for some reason. Now, that Zion had a lot of Hall of Fame badges. You could argue it was a really good card. Definitely wasn't worth 2 million MT, but again, you could argue, okay, I got LaMelo and I got Wiseman and a few others as well. Okay, fine. You spent 2 million MT for that Zion. Let's say you take up the players that you actually wanted to use. You maybe spent 600k just to get that Zion, getting the lock-in cards that you weren't really going to use. They released a new Zion weeks later that I sniped on the day the packs came out for 4,000 MT. And that card is better than the Zion lock-in reward. I don't know how we continue to let 2K get away with it, but the only way to stop things like this happening is we need to stop locking in sets. Scottie Pippen, Jonathan Isaac, all of these cards were outdated super quick and were not worth millions of MT that you could be using now to build a GOAT squad. Next up, and this is not going to be a surprise, I've made videos about this already, you have to pay attention to the reward cards. What that means is not just looking at the ultimate goal in like a spotlight challenge, a Curry or a, you know, Larry Bird. It's also looking at the other cards within that. McHale was a really good example of this, the Kevin McHale free card. I was using him He had the extendo arms, he had everything that you need in a card. Like it said in the last video, tell me something that card didn't do. And I found myself running up against Sean Kemp quite a lot, power forward to power forward. And I had the better card and it was free. Now, the only reason I can think that's the case is because packs are plastered all over 2K. You log in and it's like buy packs immediately. That's their goal. They want you to spend money. But when they are doing the right thing and they are releasing the right cards for free, go and get them. Mikhail, DeRozan, Bol, there were so many amazing free cards. And I can assure you, most of you are probably running cards worse than those cards throughout the year. So when a new card comes out, go on 2K database and look at that card. Look at its animations, because it will tell you what it's like. You know, that DeRozan being almost exactly like T-Mac, I figured out by going online and just doing a bit of research. So if there's a card you want, go to the card that you want and see if there's a free option. Next up, we have diamond contracts. Now, diamond contracts are a really easy way for 2K to take MT out of your hands. I do not understand why people choose to use them. So I'm going to give you a really simple comparison between just buying regular contracts versus diamond contracts. If you were to buy 13 diamond contracts for the 13 players in your squad, it would cost you around 360,000 MT, right? If you were to snipe silver contracts like I do for about 250 to 300 MT throughout the year, it would cost you 64,000 MT to put 99 contracts on every single player in your squad. And there's a further difference. Not only are you saving 300,000 MT doing that, you know when you sell that card, that diamond contract's going with it. And you think you're going to get more value, which sometimes you do, but it's not going to offset 300,000 MT. So unless you're certain that that card is an end game player, and I'm saying you shouldn't put a diamond contract on anyone before June, and even then, only if you've got MT to spare that you've got nothing to do with, sure, chuck a diamond contract on a player. But up until then, use regular contracts. It costs you 20% for the same result. The other thing is when you sell a card that you no longer want, you can add those contracts to the next card. You know, you're not losing it as it goes. Diamond contracts are an entire waste of money. It's a very intentional thing. It makes it seem like you've got a contract for life and you're going to use that player forever. But look back at your year and say, how many players did you put a diamond contract on that you're still using today? If you're not using it today, why did you put an unlimited contract on it? In a similar area, we're now going to talk about diamond shoes. This is one of the things that really, really baffles me in this game, because we all know this, but for some reason we choose to ignore it. So, a diamond shoe, and even a great diamond shoe, is going to boost 5 stat areas by 3. You're going to get a 3 overall jump in 5 stats on that card. Now, if you've got a diamond coach, he's going to boost more than 5 stat areas by 5. So when I see a diamond shoe, a diamond 3-point shoe on any player that's 94 or above, it's literally pointless. It's absolutely pointless. It's doing nothing. Your coach is a diamond shoe. I'm going to use this Rudy Gay as an example. He's got a 96 3-point shot. Now, if I put a 3-point shoe on him, he'll go to 99. That's true. But with Nick Nurse as my coach, the minute I load into a game, he's already got a 99 3-point shot. It can't get any higher than that. So there's no point ever putting a diamond shoe on a card. Now, you could argue early on in the game, you might have a center with a 73, and you need the coach and the combination of the shoe to get him up to maybe a 79 or something, but it's not really worth it when you're going to spend 30 to 40k on that shoe. How much difference is a 3 overall really going to make to the game? Is it going to be the difference between you winning and losing a game? Absolutely not. So this was a lesson I learned probably a bit too late myself. One thing that made me really bad at Unlimited was I played a lot of offline, especially when I was doing this Kobe challenge. You need to avoid the continuous switch between online and offline. They are different gaming experiences for many, many reasons. One, a player is usually smarter than the CPU. And two, I get lag online. So if I played offline a lot, as soon as I go online, I really struggle to green a shot. But if I play online for a few hours, I'm then in that natural groove of playing online, and I'm not using those offline, shots. So pick what you want to do. I think try to avoid, especially in one gaming session, going between offline and online, because it will make the online tougher. The offline generally, you'll be all right, but the online becomes tougher when you're used to the offline play and the way the game works offline. The other thing that was really important is when I first started these Kobe challenges, I couldn't beat the computer on Superstar or Hall of Fame. And I went online and I found out the best way to do it, and everyone said use the Nets playbook and use quick through STS. So I did. And I did it for sort of 8 of those challenges, I think, on the more difficult games. And first of all, I was just so bored using that play. I mean, it was so boring. Remember, the point of this game is to enjoy it. So I stopped using it. I switched to the Miami Heat playbook and I started getting used to those plays, and I was enjoying the game more. And I did lose a few games, even against the computer, which is embarrassing, but it's true. But what happened after that is I actually got significantly better at the game. As soon as I stopped cheesing plays offline, I'm not going to go online and do that. The game's on Superstar online, so if you're playing a Superstar game offline, that's a great opportunity to practice how you're going to approach an online game. So as soon as I stopped using the playbook, I actually started to figure out how to get past the CPU, how to get open shots, how to get to the rim, how to defend properly and all of these things. And it was not only way more enjoyable, but it actually played a big part in me going online eventually and having some success. So don't cheese plays next year. Stay online if you're going to play online, stay offline if you're going to play offline. And finally, the 10th mistake that we made last year is not going to be any surprise. Leave your credit card in your wallet. You do not need to use it. I absolutely guarantee you do not need to use it next year. Watch my video on how I created a no money spent God squad. There is no advantage to buying packs. If you're an elite player, you're going to win with any team. If you're an average player, it's not really going to change much in terms of your win-loss ratio. You do not need brand new cards. You never need to pull packs. It's just not necessary. You can snipe, you can play TTO. There's so many things that 2K have set up for you to go and get MT so you can get new cards if you want to. I'm not saying you need to do exactly what I did all year and, just use reward cards. You can get new cards, but generate the MT. I really want to explain this, against a common argument I get. I don't have time to grind MT. I hear a lot of that. I mentioned in a video recently that I made 400,000 MT in an hour flipping diamond contracts. Okay, so you don't have that hour. But how long did it take you to earn $100? An entire day of work? So you're willing to give up that 9 hours to buy these packs, but you're not willing to spend an hour to generate probably more MT. That's something to think about. 2K21's around the corner. Let's be smarter than 2K this year. Let's not fall into any traps. Thanks for listening, guys.